Hello everyone, welcome back. We get to focus on our lower body, our legs today. I do like to use props for my leg stretches. A strap and a couple blocks if you do have some things to play around with. If not, that's totally fine as well. You're gonna need just a little bit of space to move for sure though. And let's get started. So let's begin today in butterfly. If you've got some props to use today, you can set them off to the side for now. Unless you want to sit on something, definitely do that. But we'll be bringing the soles of our feet together, our knees out nice and wide. And then just bringing some length into your spine. You could close your eyes if you want to. Let your shoulders fall from your ears. Noticing how your hips are feeling. If it does feel right to tip forwards, you can tip forwards, but you can also stay sitting nice and tall. You might take a little sway through the shoulders, side to side. You might even wiggle your toes. And if you're folding forwards a little bit, just start to make your way back up. And we can bring our knees together, give them a little squeeze, a hug. And then we're gonna let our knees fall over towards the right side. We're gonna set up a 90-90 position with the legs. So the right leg might be forwards in front of you and the left leg can come back behind or out to the side, I suppose. Your left leg, the knee, might start in line with the hip. It might slide forwards and it might also slide back a little bit. But tipping over to the right side and then leaning back a little bit more as well. I want you to feel some love through your back leg. So you can slide the knee forward, slide the knee back until you find a sweet spot for your back leg. Not staying too long in any one place today. That is what our deep stretch practice is for tomorrow. So let's start to lean forwards. We're just gonna kind of pivot our legs. You might slide your back leg up, switching sides, pivot, pivot, pivot. And set up your 90-degree angles with your legs. Left leg forwards, right leg back. You could stagger the knee or you could slide it forwards, leaning back or at least to the left side a little bit. And feeling some love through that back leg, the hip flexor, the quad, maybe everywhere. Just another breath here. And then we can start to come back with our legs in front of us. Maybe one more hug of the knees, a little rock side to side. We're gonna come over and into tabletop next. And I want you to bring your knees out wide, big toes together, sending the hips back to your heels for your child's pose. But we'll keep the chest lifted, just take a gentle sway through the shoulders, sending your hips back towards your heels. Just see how things are feeling through the legs. When you are ready to lift back up, you can find tabletop. We're gonna be coming into a lunge. If you've got a strap to use today, have it close by. And if you've got a couple blocks to play with, I just like to hold on to them. It's gonna a little bit easier to balance, a little bit easier to relax into the hip stretches. But if you don't have anything, that's completely fine. We're gonna be bringing our right foot forwards though, setting up a lunge. So you might tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and then just scooch it back slightly until you find that left hip flexor. You might rest on the top of the back foot, your hands on the ground or on some blocks, your chest low, and then see if you can kind of try to encourage your feet together. Maybe it's your back knee and your front foot, trying to slide them together, but hopefully they don't actually move. Hopefully that little bit of thought, maybe a little bit of action, just deepens your hip flexor stretch. Wakes up the legs a little bit. You might continue to try to pull your back knee and your front foot together. And then relax. Let your chest maybe get a little heavier. And then let's start to send our hips back, lengthening through the front leg, a half split. And again, you can have your hands on the ground. You can have your hands on a couple blocks. Let's look at our foot though. See if you can drop your toes down. Put some effort into trying to squeeze your foot or push your foot into your mat. Bring as much length into your right leg as you can. And then maybe you are dropping your chest towards your knee as well. And another moment here, but you could start to point the toes up, flexing the foot. Notice how that changes the stretch, what you feel through the back of your leg. Some effort into pointing the toes up maybe. Maybe your chest stays lifted. Maybe you drop it back down towards your knee. And then using an inhale, let's start to bend our front knee, sink into our hips again. You can move your blocks with you if they want to move with you. You can keep your hands on your blocks. We're back in our lunge where we might be trying to pull that front foot and back knee towards one another again. You can keep your chest low though, or you could lift your chest up and maybe place your hands on your knee. Same thing though, a little pull together just to deepen that stretch, a little bit of work, and then relax. Let your chest come back down. Rest your hands. And then slowly sending the hips back again, just to come out of the hips for a moment. A little half split, toes down or toes up. And then you can start to bend into your front knee again, back into your lunge. And then we'll just find our tabletop and switch sides. So a little sway through the hips if you would like. And then you can start to bring your left foot forwards. Again, if your blocks are coming in handy, use them. And if they are not, don't use them. Set up your lunge. You might tuck your back toes, lift your knee, and just scoot it back ever so slightly. Then maybe rest on the top of the foot again. And then start to wake up the legs. Try to slide your front foot and your back knee together. All the while relaxing through your shoulders, your face. A little bit of effort to pull those lower limbs together and then relax. Relax. Let your chest get a little bit heavier. And then you can slowly start to send your hips back for your half split and starting maybe with pushing the toes down, the ball of the foot down, finding length through the leg and maybe dropping your chest towards your knee. Breathe. Maybe feeling the top of the ankle, the shin. Here a little bit longer if you want to start to flex the foot, maybe feeling the hamstring more. Point the toes up, maybe drop the chest towards the knee again. And then using an inhale to come back into your lunge, sink into your hips. Maybe starting to pull things together again, find the hip flexor. But if your chest wants to lift, it can lift. Pull. Nothing's moving. It's just engagement, activation. Slowly relaxing the legs and letting the chest come back down. Sink into your hips. And then you can push yourself back and into tabletop. Hands to the ground, a sway of the hips if you'd like. And then we're just going to sit back on our heels for a moment, resting on the tops of the feet. You might have your blocks close by just to hold on to. You might start to tip back and maybe lift the knees, stretching through the top of the ankles, up into the shins. Not here long. If you do have your knees lifted, slowly lower them back down, lean forwards. Tuck your toes under, find a toe squat. Lengthening through the bottom of the toes, maybe leaning forwards, maybe sitting back on the heels. Not here long, once again. And then slowly find your way back into tabletop. If your hands are lifted, bring them down. Maybe give your ankles a little bit of a shake, a little tap of the toes maybe. We're going to be bringing our right foot forwards again, setting up our lunge, except this time, let's heel toe. I won't use my blocks this time. Let's heel toe our right foot to the edge of our mat for a lizard. So heel toe your foot over, turn your toes out so they're on an angle. Your hands under your shoulders. I guess you could bring the blocks under the hands now. But our knee is on the outside of our right shoulder. We're sinking into our hips. You might tuck your toes again, lift your back knee, and then just scooch it back ever so slightly. Bring it down, rest on the top of your foot again. So options here, stay in a lizard. Maybe lower to your forearms onto your blocks or onto your mat. If you've got a strap to use, we can try to reach back for our back foot. You might not need it, but if you're gonna join me, left hand can stay down. You'll be reaching back with your right hand. So left foot, right hand. Reaching back, bending the back leg. And maybe using your strap to hold your foot and hug your heel towards your glute to get a nice quad stretch. And if you did bend your back leg, we are going to let that go. And if you're on your forearms or folding forwards in some sort of way, start to come back onto your hands. We'll heel toe our foot back to the middle of our mat and then push all the way back into tabletop. Take a gentle sway through the hips. And then we are going to switch sides. So our left foot can come forwards. Set up a lunge first. And then you can start to heel toe your foot over to the left side. Again, not here long in any one place. Let the knee come out to the side, the toes out on an angle. Stay on your hands. Maybe tuck your back toes, lift your knee, scooch it back ever so slightly. Rest on the top of the foot again. Stay here, maybe lower onto the forearms. Maybe plant your right hand and reach the left with a strap or without back for your right foot, hugging the heel towards the glute. A quad stretch, a short, sweet quad stretch. Awesome, you guys. Letting your back leg go if you added that in. Coming back up and onto your hands so that we can heel toe our foot back to the middle of our mat again and then push ourselves back and into tabletop. Take a moment, give your hips a little bit of a sway side to side. And then cross your ankles and sit down with your legs out in front. We might find our butterfly again, bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. If you want to sit on something, sit on something. Lengthening through the spine though, closing the eyes. Notice how your hips, your legs are feeling. Stay sitting tall or take a tip forwards. Maybe a gentle sway through the shoulders. If you're folding forwards, you can start to lift back up again. Give your knees a squeeze, bring them back together. Take a rock. side to side. And then find your way into a nice comfy seat. Awesome work, you guys. That is it. That is all for today. Look forward to holding some stretches a lot longer tomorrow. I don't want to spoil too much though. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, namaste.